So we previously talked about propaganda o'clock. This is the twice a day briefings for President Trump from his propaganda team, where they would bring him printouts of positive news and headlines, pictures of Trump, really, really wacky, right? They would like print tweets from the internet onto physical paper, print pictures or titles from Fox News of Trump looking presidential or positive titles and hand them to Trump physically. Really oddball, but Trump demands it, or at least someone figured out that it keeps Trump more docile to give him this propaganda folder. We've actually now learned about another layer of this internal propaganda strategy that Trump's team employs with him, which is that the staff insulates him from all polls that have his approval in the mid 30s and instead just brings him good but completely delusional approval polls. They'll bring him, for example, internal approval polls only of Trump supporters, where he has mostly retained support, or polls that are just known to lean very far to the right, like Rasmussen, which recently showed him at 46%. Still no miracle, but higher than the mid 30s that the more reputable polls have been showing. But interestingly, in the last couple days, even Rasmussen now has Trump down at 41%. It's also been reported that some White House insiders are not thrilled with this strategy. They say, listen, these internal polls are delusional. They serve no real positive purpose. It's not, it doesn't do anything for us to show Trump these polls. But the issue is that it's altogether too much time being spent validating Trump's self-image by his staff instead of doing stuff. And I wonder, does Trump really not search Google? Does he really think that every poll mentioned on just about every TV channel is fake? Well, he did once say that. Remember back in February when Donald Trump tweeted any negative polls are fake news, just like the CNN, ABC, NBC polls in the election? Sorry, people want border security and extreme vetting. How funny is it that Trump denounces fake news, but is kept happy with fake or incredibly skewed news? And meanwhile, Trump's approval rating in the Gallup poll is 38%. It did pop up a tiny bit over the last few days. The 538.com daily tracking of all approval polls has Trump at an average approval of 38. And if it weren't so catastrophic for our country, I would just be laughing about how insecure and obsessed with himself Donald Trump is. But unfortunately, it's having a real impact, right? It's destroying our relationships with world leaders around the world. It's already forced the United States to take a back seat in lots of important discussions. And as I've said, now when the world meets to decide how to deal with climate change, you just don't talk to Donald Trump. You don't need to talk to the American president because there's no point in it. When the world meets to talk about alternative renewable energy sources, they don't need to get the United States involved because in the end, it's Trump and he has nothing to add on those issues. So it would be funny if it weren't part of this significantly destructive status quo that we have around the world when it comes to the president of the United States. Today's program sponsor is Live Lingua, the immersive language learning system. I've talked about how English is not my first language. I'm a native speaker of Spanish. I learned English when I came to the United States as a kid. And I've also had experiences trying to learn both French and Hebrew, sort of with varying degrees of success at different points in my life. And it's a journey, it's a challenge, but it really is one of the most rewarding experiences that I've had, particularly after learning English and trying to learn another language. And Live Lingua, in addition to offering their first lesson for free, has a Black Friday deal going. Instead of buying tchotchkes after waiting all night at some department store, what about saving 20% off of a gift card at Live Lingua, where you can take advantage of their immersive learning with native speakers of the languages. They teach the 11 most widely spoken languages in the world, and you don't have to drive around and go meet in person with your expensive language tutor. The meetings are via Skype. They are one-on-one. And in addition to a free lesson on Black Friday, you can save 20% if you go to livelingua.com/Pakman and get a gift card. And by the way, Live Lingua won't say anything if you decide to use the gift card on yourself instead of giving it to somebody else. Check it out, livelingua.com/Pakman. Get 20% off all gift cards on Black Friday. Learn a language.